Everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. You can see the lot is getting full again, so we got to get to work. Today we're looking at this 2002 Toyota Highlander. This was the one where we replaced the ignition coils a while back. And it's been driving just fine until yesterday. The owner says in the morning it took a few cranks to start. And it drove okay, the whole day, and then he was getting home and it started misfiring. The check engine light started blinking. So he's like, can you come look at it? I'm like, just bring it over, we'll take care of it. So he got it here. He said he couldn't rev past like 2,000 RPM, he had really low power. Let's dive right in, scan for codes. And it has some codes. Let's see, cylinder 2 misfire detected. O2 sensor heater circuit fault, bank 2 sensor 2. Interesting. Catalyst efficiency below threshold, bank 1. Cat system efficiency low, bank 2. Evap, we don't care about evap. We don't care about the catalyst. He had some exhaust work done. The oxygen sensor and the misfire. That's definitely drivability related. So obviously, just look at live data, look at fuel trims, look at misfire counters. You guys know the deal. So I'm just curious, since we scanned it right now, if we go home to vehicle history, this is where the Verus shines. Like, hey, history is important. What codes did it have last time when we changed out those ignition coils? Well, let's see. So this is from 2018, exactly a year ago. Let's see here. When did I first scan this thing? So last September, it had the igniter circuit fault number 4. O2 sensor heater circuit fault, bank 2 sensor. So this is today. These are the codes from today. And in September, it had the ignition coil problem. I don't see any O2 sensor codes before that. So you had igniter circuit fault number 3. Again, those all with the ignition coils. And then before that, last May, you had some evap stuff. And that's pretty much it. So new codes. Jump right into our live data and just double check, make sure it doesn't have any other history codes. Those are the same ones, pending. Ooh, interesting. Fuel system 2 lean, bank 2. Cat efficiency low, bank 2 and bank 1. Cylinder 2 misfire detected. Okay, so it's very important to go to all the code menus because fuel system 2 lean, hey, this thing might be trying to drive that O2 sensor high and just following itself out. Too much gasoline in there. Let's see what we got in here. I want to get the data on the screen before jumping in, before starting it up. Let's do air fuel sensor. So this might have a wideband O2 air fuel sensor. What do we got here? Long-term fuel trim, short-term fuel trim, bank 1 sensor 1 voltage. See AFS 3.3, that's a Toyota thing. And O2 bank 2 sensor 2 voltage. We're basically interested in these two guys and the fuel trims. Customize the data list. Engine speed, coolant temp, short term, long term, bank 1 sensor 1, bank 1 sensor 2. Now bank 2 sensor 2, what the heck is that? This is a 4-cylinder. It's not a V6. How does it have two banks? I don't know. Let's just look at the data. Oxygen sensor 1, oxygen sensor 2, air fuel 1. So it might have two cats, like California emissions or something. You got a heater for the air fuel sensor. Anyways, list view. See how it runs. Oh, it's not happy. It has a single cylinder misfire. It's got a dead miss. We gotta fix that first. And you got your misfire. No sense in taking it for a test drive before oh man, no wonder he has no power. I'm still wondering what's gonna happen to our fuel trims here. It's running like poo. I'll drive into the shop. Let's do a let's just back out of here. We don't care about fuel trims right now. We care about misfires. It's gotta be cylinder number 2. You wonder why. There it is, cylinder number 2 counting up. This thing stinks like raw gas. Oh man, gasoline smell, raw gas. I don't want to run it like this in case it's like a stuck fuel injector. Let's get number 2 spark plug out. See what it looks like. Go from there. All right, going for the number 2. Place your bets now. I don't know. Looks dry. Why would it smell like gas? Number 2 misfire. We could have done as a cylinder drop test, but the spark plugs are so easy to get to. Shouldn't be a problem. Here's a little dielectric grease on there, but I expected this thing to be wet and fouled, but not the case. I want to plug in the coil and the spark plug and see if it works. I mean, it's very easy to do, so why not do it? Just start it up. We got no spark. Okay. Alright, here's the next step. Got no spark. Play a little Swaptronics. The coils are this easy to get to and swap around. Next easiest step, right? You can see these coils were replaced at some point March, actually on my birthday, in 2017. A little more than 2 years ago. So we're going to swap number 2 and number 3. See if that misfire moves. Simple, easy check. All right. So got the misfire. Let's retry. If this is a coil, I mean, hey, they've already been replaced. Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, there you go, number 3. How messed up is that? Boom. Ridiculous. So it's a bad coil. And remember, we replaced 2. Should have just replaced all 4, but then the guy wouldn't have come back. Right? No junk aftermarket garbage. Denso's made in Japan. They're working good. That guy shot. That guy's still good, but we're replacing these two now. That wasn't very fun. We could still test the oxygen sensor. This is why he has two banks. We got one here, one there, and probably one underneath. So we got the misfire diagnosed. At least. Yeah, we'll shut the poor car off. Doesn't need to suffer. So it needs two ignition coils. Let's read the codes again. Now I should have set a cylinder 3 misfire, at least pending. Oh man, it smells like raw gas. Pending codes. No, it didn't have time to set cylinder number 3 misfire. But hey, look, 2, 3, 4. O2 sensor heater, bank 2 sensor 2. That's going to be our downstream heater circuit. Bank 2 sensor 2. Yep. And how do we find out, what the names are for all the oxygen sensors? Again, let's go to data display, just double check this. Because I think it has 2 upstreams and 1 downstream, so we should have 2 air fuel sensors. You should look at engine data 1. Usually the key stuff is in here, even though it has a separate menu for the air fuel sensors. Okay, custom. Alright. Fuel system 1, fuel system 2, short term 1, long term 1. Yes, options 2, sensor 1. This doesn't make too much sense to me. Why would it have fuel trim 1, fuel trim just 1, but it has 2 sensors? Doesn't make much sense, does it? Go back in here. Bank 1 sensor 2, bank 2 sensor 2, bank 1 sensor 1. That is the strangest thing. And running like this is going to cook the cat pretty fast, even though it's already bad, so no one really cares. So that one's heating up. Bank 1 sensor 2. And bank 2 sensor 2 is dead in the water. That's what the code is for. Bank 1 sensor 2, bank 2 sensor 2. Save that. Okay. Let's take a quick look in the component tests. You'll be able to tell us which one's which. Fuel injection and air fuel ratio sensor, O2 sensors. Component information. AF sensor replaces conventional pre-cat O2 sensor in this vehicle. Output is opposite of a seen conventional O2 sensor, blah blah blah. Location. That sensor location. All oxygen, heated oxygen, air fuel sensor located in one or more of the following places. Well, that's not very helpful. Not helpful. I wonder what it says about O2 sensors. Rear O2 sensor. post-cat HO2 sensor. Well, that's the one, I mean sensor 2. I'm just wondering why the two upstreams are misbehaving, but let's find that one and do our check, because we have to do a full diagnosis here. Obviously the ignition coil is shot. We want to make sure the oxygen sensor is also shot before we quote the customer and you know, fix this vehicle right. Just doing a quick visual inspection. For a 4-cylinder engine, this is the goofiest setup. You got two upstreams. I assume they're both air fuel sensors. And we have two downstreams. There's one. There's the other one. That's crazy. And now which one's bank 1 and which one's bank 2? Well, you see the header from number 1 actually crosses over and goes into this guy. So potentially this could be bank 1, even though cylinder 1's over there. So we have to be careful. We have to check and test. What we could do very quickly, it's a heater fault on one of the downstreams, is unplug the downstreams and just do a resistance check. Figure it out that way. But the fact that the scanner didn't show two air fuel sensors and two downstream, you know, regular O2 sensors kind of makes me wonder, like, why did the scan data not report all 4 sensors? Alright, quick check. I got the driver's side downstream O2 unplugged. Test light from battery positive. Test light lights up. We got positive voltage on this tip. Now, look at our scan data. And I want to see if bank 2 sensor 2, if I can drive that high. That'll prove at least we're chasing the right sensor, because there's 4 of them. It's not really clear which one's which. Judging by the wires over here, 2 on the right are black. Those are the heaters. Blue and white. Signal and ground. Now, I always have a hard time remembering, is the blue ground or is the white ground? Doesn't matter. Let's just stab them. Ooh, 1.3, 0. So, this is bank 1 sensor 2, not bank 2 sensor 2. So this sensor is fine, and we can prove that. Let's double check that the ground lights a test light. That's the sensor ground for our oxygen sensor. So this thing, we can actually, if it's known good, it's not setting a heater code, we can measure the resistance across the heater pins and see what it is compared to bank 2 sensor 2, right? Bank 1 sensor 2 is supposedly good. Alright, so doing a resistance check now on the oxygen sensor itself. 2 black wires. Got the AES wave adapters right to our ohm meter. About 14 ohms. So that heater is fine. The car's not complaining about it. Good to go. Now, where does the bank 2 sensor 2 go? Right here. I love that Toyota makes these easy to access. Boom. Unplugged. Again, we do our test light check. Look at the bank 2 sensor 2 voltage. Going by the wire colors. Again, I don't remember which one's blue, which one's white. We'll just stab one. Ah, white is ground. Remember that. Blue is a signal. And sure enough, our signal wire is good. Voltage went high and let off. There it goes back down to 0. Cool. Cool. Let's do the resistance check on this heater. Get my wires over here. Plug them into 2 blacks. There's one. I don't know how Keith does this single-handed. Keith can fix a car single-handedly faster than most people can do it with 4 hands. Right? Right. There you go. Resistance, obviously open, like we thought. Last thing to do, to be 120% sure, we could put a test light in place of the heater in here and see if it lights up the test light. Easy check. Why not demonstrate it? Alright, final check. Test light, little baby test light plugged into the heater control wires. on our connector, and it should light up. Again, some systems are too smart for their own good. They won't light up the heater, like this one. Maybe you need to erase the code, maybe you need to look up a wiring diagram. Again, it's not on. Let's just try one thing. Key on, exit, clear codes, yes. Oh man, it smells like gas. Gasoline. Codes only, make sure there's nothing in there. And no codes present. Cool. Let's see if it turns on that test light. No. Well, so the heater burned out. How do we prove that the heater control circuit is good? Usually you just throw an O2 sensor in it and you're done. However, that test light doesn't light. You could potentially have other issues. We probably don't, it's a Toyota. Let's think of a way to check this O2 sensor heater control wires. Aha. It's set to P0161 again, even with the test light plugged in. It still does not like that circuit. So this thing might be a little smart. It's not just a continuity check. That current through the light bulb in my test light should be about the same as through a normal heater, otherwise the system's not happy. What did we measure the resistance of the known good heater to be? About 14 ohms, right? So this thing should draw about 1 amp at 14 volts. Easy math. No math required. So what can we do? A, we can swap the O2 sensors around. I think the harnesses will reach, and see if the system is happy with the other sensor plugged into there, the other downstream. Now push the little tab and pull it out. There we go. Bring it over here. Hopefully the connector is the same. And it is. Thank you, Toyota. Alright. So we got the bank 1 sensor downstream plugged into the bank 2 controls now. Let's see. Key out. Key in. See if it does our O2 sensor check. No codes present. So I can't get bank 1 sensor 2 heater code to set, but we don't have the bank 2 sensor 2 code anymore, so go figure. One last check here. But if we don't have bank 2 sensor 2 code anymore for the heater, then yeah, it didn't run the O2 check. Maybe it's too hot or something, I don't know. But anyways, plugged in a good sensor. Bank 2 sensor 2 heater code went away. Car's happy with that one. So what parts do we need in the parts cannon? Parts sniper rifle, 2 ignition coils, 1 oxygen sensor, bank 2 sensor 2 downstream. Should fix it right up. We'll be right back with the parts. Alright, there it is. Now it's a 141 instead of a 161. O2 sensor heater circuit fault, bank 1 sensor 2. So bank 2, sensor 2 controls are happy with the known good sensor. 150% confident that the oxygen sensor will do the trick here. So before we load up the parts cannon, I'm like, wait a minute, I think I have something in that big pile of junk that can get this guy, back on the road temporarily. He really needs an ignition coil, just one, and the oxygen sensor, that can wait a little while. Well, I saved the one good coil from last year when we replaced the original coils. It's right here in the box. Here it is. Number 1, Toyota. Let's pop this guy in, at least get the thing running, take it for a test drive, make sure everything else is good. And since I have to order the parts, wait a few days, he can still drive his car, it's his only car. And, kind of temporarily fix it for now, and then quote him on the new parts. Alright, here we go. Back to the OEM, the original. So we moved the bad one to number 3, right? Put that sucker in. Should be good to go. See if it runs. This is great. People say, oh, why do you keep the old parts? Well, I think you should get another new coil and throw it in the glove box. Oh yeah. Woohoo! Sweet.